taught me how to live. Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins. Down to the river, every man has felt the shame. All our blood, it runs the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, going down deep, singing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, washing me clean, carry
Hi, welcome to the Cryptid Wilderness Research Podcast. I am CWR team member Daniel Becker up here in Anchorage, Alaska, staring into the Arctic abyss. And joining me, as always, from Quincy, Washington, my fellow host, Matt Slater.
Hello.
Matt, how are things in Quincy, Washington this week?
Oh, it's pretty great. The snow's gone. The temperatures are up in the 70s. We're getting out there. We're doing stuff. I got a couple of thermal videos to post up, and we're getting stuff done.
Excellent. I think it was a whopping 42 degrees here today, which for us is good, and we'll take it. And sunshine, so we're looking good today.
Nice.
So tonight, our guest is Jason Kenzie, and he is an esteemed author, director, and animal photojournalist and filmmaker, and he has the documentary film series Searching for Sasquatch. And you know, there are different categories of documentary makers, and obviously we have all the Bigfoot TV shows, but Jason is a very dedicated, serious documentary maker. And so, Matt, before we bring him on, I wanted to ask you, how important are those documentary filmmakers, the serious ones like this gentleman? How important are they to the Bigfoot research community?
Yeah, they're very important. You know, you have your sensationalist TV shows that they're just for grabs. You know, it's like, but a serious documentary filmmaker going out into the field is doing research as they're doing their filmmaking and documentary work. And they're able to go out there with a lot of equipment, a lot of people, a lot of experts, and they're able to do this research to a much higher degree. And as you'll see from the Searching for Sasquatch series, I mean, he goes out there with extremely good equipment, and he's got helicopters or remote areas, a lot more than you know regular folks like you and I are able to do. And it's very, very important.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we're very happy to have him on.
Yeah.
He's got a busy schedule and is out just adding value to the research community. So without further ado, let's welcome documentary filmmaker and animal photojournalist Jason Kenzie.
Hey guys,
How are you, sir?
I'm very good. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. It's such a pleasure to have you on. And like I said in the intro, you are a very dedicated, committed documentary filmmaker. And I'm working my way through the series, and most recently was watching the episode in the series regarding Kentucky, and just fantastic work. And I have to start, obviously, by asking you, what got you into this? What got you headed down this trail?
Well, so basically, I've always heard stories of Sasquatch. I live in British Columbia, about an hour and a half away from Harrison Hot Springs, which is the epicenter of these Sasquatch creatures. The First Nations people talk about them all the time. they used to say that they used to trade food with them before there was a massive rift and things went sideways. But for the longest time, I was an animal photojournalist. So I would travel the world meeting people that live with amazing animals, from wolves and tigers and bears and alligators, kangaroos, you name it, everything in between. Lots of dogs, cats, like you just name it. I just loved interviewing these people on the love that they had for their animals. And my motto is no cages. I have to be able to hug the animals, so to speak. That didn't go very well with the 10-foot alligators, but that's a whole other story. Then 2019 hit, and then the world shut down, and I wasn't able to do my animal adventures. So I did a web series called Jason Kenzie's Amazing Animal Adventures, which documented behind the scenes of my photo shoots with these animals and these people. And basically, this got me prepared for when I jumped into Bigfoot. But I wasn't able to do my animal adventure documentaries anymore. So I was with a buddy of mine, Paul, and we're, basically sitting around a fire. I was complaining, to be honest. I was kind of venting, saying, what am I going to do? I can't do my animal photo shoots. I need something to do. I'm driving myself crazy. My ADHD is making me go nuts because I wasn't able to do anything. And then he kind of jokingly said, well, I mean, maybe you could do something on Sasquatch. Maybe he's an animal of some kind. And so we laughed at it. I laughed. It was like, that's funny. That's funny. Wait a second. You might be onto something, because I live so close to an area that has so many eyewitnesses. And I knew a couple people who said that they had seen a Sasquatch up close. So I went and interviewed them, and they in turn showed me someone else, and I started recording their interviews. And then they sent me to the First Nations people, and I interviewed some of them, and they pointed me into a direction way up into the mountains. And I went up there and I interviewed some of the locals up there. And then while I was out there on an expedition, just looking around, I found a lake that had hundreds of these giant footprints in the middle of this lake. And I had a drone. So I droned the lake, and you can clearly see all the footprints. So I took this footage, took it back to the First Nations people, and they said that I found the migration path of the Sasquatch people from Alaska all the way down to California. And so while I was exploring other places in BC, I went to an area and found trees that were ripped out of the ground, turned upside down, jammed into the ground, some other footprints. And then I turned everything into a documentary, which was the first one, called The Crossing. So Searching for Sasquatch, The Crossing. And it went viral. And next thing I know, I had Bigfoot researchers from all over North America wanting me to come out into the areas to they wanted to show me where they had encounters with these Bigfoot creatures. And then I started filming my documentaries with them, and yeah, that's in the nutshell, that's how I got started into searching for Bigfoot. And now I do a lot of other cryptids too, like the flying dinosaurs of New Mexico. I'm going to do a documentary on them. The Mothman, I'm about to do this summer. I'm working on, I just did a expedition looking for evidence of Dogman up in northern Michigan. So I'm working on that documentary right as we speak. And that one is called Dogman Cometh. And it's, I'm editing it right now. Can I tell you something that happened there that was really cool?
Absolutely. And before you do that, I want to tell you, last summer I was at a stoplight here in Anchorage, and sometimes when we go out, we put the logo of our a podcast on the sides of our vehicles.
Yeah.
And I was at a stoplight, and this really nice couple that was in the truck next to me yelled over to me, "Hey, we're from Michigan. Have you heard any stories about Dogman?" And it was a short conversation that we had because we were at the light. But I said, "Yes, I have, but and I know people who've seen them. But yeah, go for it. I would love to hear this."
So even though I was doing an expedition looking for evidence of Bigfoot and Dogman, and an eyewitness had come forward and came up and talked to me, and he lives on this huge property that backed into a big national forest, and he would hear howls and eye shine and weird things would happen, lights. So then he told me something that was incredible. Something you only hear in legends, like almost urban legends. So he took us out in there, and we came across a giant nest, a massive nest that was 8 feet in diameter. It was on the ground, and it was about 2 to 3 feet high. And it looked like a giant bird nest where all the sticks were woven. It was woven and bent. It's almost like these Bigfoot creatures. I don't think it was Dogman. I've never heard of a wolf laying eggs, so who knows? But it seemed like they were bent into to make it completely a circle. And I was just dumbfounded. And all the way that we were hiking through, we could hear things walking around in the shadows, and we could see eye shine every once in a while of things peeking behind trees. And at one point, I saw this eye shine or whatever it was that peeked behind the tree. I jumped over a berm. Actually, it was like a bit of a gully. Jumped over it and went up this animal trail, maybe about 20 feet. And when it turned a bit, whatever it was, it ran right in front of me, and it was hunched over, and it was probably about 4 feet high, but it was hunched over, and it went so fast, and it was kind of like a gray. It was like darkish gray, and it went so fast. It caught me off guard, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! I saw something!" And then you could hear it crashing through the forest. And I got that on film. And I was like, "Oh, thank God that everyone heard. And thank God that I wasn't just seeing things. There was literally something, and it was like a blur. Like it moved so fast, whatever it was. I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly. It could have been a bobcat or something. I mean, it went so fast. And yeah, it was right in front of me. So that's what I'm working on right now. Number 16.
One of the things that I like about you as a journalist and as a researcher is you are willing to go off the beaten path. I mean, you go in there, and and just with the documentary that I've seen so far and the clips that I've seen so far, I mean, you're all over the place. Saw the clips of you in Florida out looking for the skunk ape, and that takes real dedication. So, and us as researchers are educated by serious documentary filmmakers like yourself. So thank you for that job you do, and for what you bring to the research community. That's educational for all of us. So we appreciate that.
One of the best things that's happened since myself doing these documentaries and going out into the field is I've made some amazing friends along the way. Friends that I will probably have forever. Well, unless I'm eaten by a Bigfoot or a Dogman, then that's
right.
But other than that, people that I have a great team of researchers that I go out with quite a lot of times. I just got back from Florida, where I was researching skunk ape for the third time. This will be my third documentary searching for the skunk ape, and I went out with a tracker, a guy by the name of Tim T, and he does tracking, and he's a very good tracker. He's a military guy, and I went out with him, and it was incredible. We went down this trail, and we found all these footprints, like a line of footprints in the mud. Clearly, it was something, or maybe a person with 14-inch feet with no shoes walking. It was following these deer tracks, and then it veered off into the jungle, which it baffles me if it's a human, because there is so much thorns on the ground that just me walking with shoes and pants, I'm getting cut up. But yeah, there were some great, lots of toes. They weren't deep enough to actually cast, but you could clearly see that there were footprints, and we must have walked about 200 feet, and then they veered off we lost them in the jungle. But another time we were in the jungle and we're walking around, and suddenly we got howled at 15 feet away, right behind us, right behind this bush. It was crazy. And we looked at each other. Tim's behind me, and this thing howls beside us. And I look at Tim, I'm like, that's what I did. And he's like, and then right away I howled. And then these coyotes started howling right beside us. And which I really liked, because the first thing that howled sounded deeper and much different. And we were filming, so I caught that all on film. So that was pretty exciting.
Another thing that you did in the documentary I was watching, and I know that other researchers have tried this, but I love this idea. I know a lot of people kind of veer away from it because they don't know what's being said, but you did it. You did it. You went for it. And that's when you held the speaker up and did the audio that had been recorded. Tell us about that experience.
So that is called the Minnesota Roars. So this is Searching for Sasquatch 10. We had gone into Minnesota, and we actually got this audio from a First Nations person that was a Red Lake Indian band member, and he actually recorded it right off his porch. He had like 300,000 acres of land behind, like forest behind his place, and these creatures would come right up behind his house. And what I was playing was the roars that he captured on a recorder, and yeah, it was incredible. So when we went to Michigan, I decided I was just going to blast it. And like I said, we don't know what it's saying. For all I know, it's saying, "Please eat the short blonde guy with the video camera." We just don't know what it's saying. And so I'm trying to get a response back. Right. So it's nerve-wracking, because after you play it, you don't know what it said. So then you go off into the forest and, just hope that my life insurance policy is up to date.
I also liked that most researchers, when they do that, they go to the Sierra Sounds. So that seems to be the go-to for that. But I liked that you didn't go to the Sierra Sounds. You actually did something different. And that's always refreshing to see when researchers do something different. So that was a great moment. So in all these people that you've interviewed, you've been from north to south, east to west, coast to coast. In all these people that you've interviewed that have had encounters, that have had experiences, what are some of the common things that you hear amongst them?
Well, so what's happened now is people will contact me, and they will talk about these Bigfoot creatures coming up to their house. And they usually live on a lot of acreage or with forest behind them, and they'll come up and they'll talk to me about these Bigfoot creatures are scaring my family, and I see the eyes shine, and we hear the audio, like the howls and the roars. Can you come and help us get rid of these Bigfoot creatures? Can you, how can we, stop them from coming up to the house? And so I usually tell them, get yourself a couple cameras. Have one pointed at the forest and another one pointed at your house, because for some reason these creatures don't like the camera. And yeah, I get responses back by people going, hey, it worked. I went and purchased a tree cam towards the forest, and then they got a security camera that would face their house, and they would only have some issues like once a month instead of 4 times a week. So that happened. That's happened like 5 or 6 times. But I do hear a lot of people talk about the tree structures that they find while they're hiking, and sometimes people will take me to that area, and sometimes we'll go so deep in that you wonder, how did someone just want to build this and just expect someone to come walking by and see it. It's not like it's by a trail.
Now, because you're a filmmaker, you work with a lot of equipment, a lot of high-tech equipment.
Yeah.
And one of the phenomenon that occurs among all researchers who work with the techie stuff is we actually finally made a term for it. We call it CEI, cryptid electronic interference.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced cryptid electronic interference, CEI, in all of your filmmaking?
Well, I haven't had anything with my camera equipment. Well, I did do a couple paranormal documentaries called Paranormal Adventures, and there I had my batteries would die like that. I've had batteries die actually just like that, like brand new batteries in the field searching for these creatures. But one time I had a tree cam, like a trail cam. It was given to me as a gift. I was excited to use it. So I went out to this tree that had a knot in it, like had a hole, and I put a giant lollipop that was wrapped up, and I stuck it in the hole, and it was sticking out. And of course, I do what I always do before I gift. I'm like, hey, this is for you, Sasquatch. Okay, if you don't want it and you don't want to eat it, that's fine. I will eat it. Just don't spit on it, okay, or throw it away. So I stuck it in the hole and I walked away. The next night I came back, and right away it wasn't in the hole. I'm like, oh, okay. And then my buddy's like, oh, it's down by your feet. I look down, I pick it up. The wrapper's still on it, except for this little piece of plastic that was bitten and ripped off. And it definitely looked like it was like a squirrel or a muskrat or some kind of a pack rat. And so I ate it, duh. And then I took off the tree cam because I had the trail cam facing it, and I stuck it into my bag. Didn't look at it because I'm thinking it's a squirrel. So I get home. A month later, I get home. I'm in front of my computer, and I usually edit with all the lights off. And I was downloading all the footage, and I came to the trail cam and took it out, stuck it in there, and I'm going through one by one, looking at all the footage. And I'd used the trail cam for like 2 days prior before I put it with the lollipop. And all the footage worked except for the one footage that would have showed me what gnawed on the plastic. It's as if something licked it, didn't like it, and threw it on the ground. And everything worked before it, and everything worked after it. So I'm getting all excited while I'm looking. I'm like, oh, I see myself putting it up. I see myself, okay, looking at it, like it's just going. And then I'm like, oh, the next one's the squirrel. And I click on it, and it's so corrupted that I did everything. I stuck it in AI to try and correct it. I tried all my programs. I have some really powerful editing software that, one of them usually plays anything, and nothing worked. It was complete. The only footage that I wanted to look at that would have showed the squirrel that took a bite out of it, or took a nibble of the plastic, it did not work. I was shocked. I was sitting there for half an hour going, what is the odds? oh, what the? Like, I was just like, yeah, still kind of bugs me to this day because I'm like, how do you explain that? I mean, out of all the footage, the one footage, it's just what, I mean, anyway, yeah. So that's the only time that I've experienced that. So,
With my partners in Arkansas, we've experienced it with our cameras. I had two DJI drones down there that both the drones started malfunctioning over our research areas. And yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that has been reported by many researchers, and that cryptid electronic interference. So
yeah.
as a researcher yourself, obviously, and you're going into all these remote areas, there's always an element of danger, either from wildlife or weather or cryptids. Tell us about a couple of moments in your research where you've experienced elements of danger that are memorable.
Well, so I was researching in Arkansas, like in the Ozark Mountains, and almost stepped on a copperhead snake. So that was pretty, that would have ended the expedition for sure. There was a few times in Florida while I was in the swamps, I almost stepped on a snake. One was what was it? What's the black? Slipped my mind at the moment. There's a rattlesnake, and then there's the water moccasin.
Oh,
I've seen
yes.
that. Okay, so just recently when I was in Florida, we found like we're in the middle of the wilds of the swamps, and we come across a whole bunch of wild oranges, like these orange trees, and the oranges were perfectly ripe. And I go stomping up. I'm like, oh my gosh! And I break some off, and I peel it, and they're so sweet. Lots of seeds though, like tons. They shouldn't be called oranges. They should be just called seeds. And I found a whole bunch of seed trees. They were amazing. But so there was a big, almost like a big swampy, that was in front, a lagoon. There was a big lagoon in front of us. And I walked out, and I'm talking on camera, and I'm explaining on camera that if you look across from me, you can see that there is a slide made by an alligator. And you have to be very careful because the alligator isn't too far away from the slide, right? Because the slide is made so they can get up easy, but it's also made so they can escape as fast as, so they they swim not too far away. And as I'm talking, I look down and I see them standing on a slide, like pretty much it's right next to me, like another one on this side. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, well, I back up really slow. And then, that one time there was an alligator right across the way, just sitting there. We're camping. We're literally camping with it looked like probably a 8 or 9 foot alligator just resting on the bank, only maybe 200 feet away from us, but I know my animals, and usually alligators they usually leave you alone. Very seldom will an alligator come out of the water to venture off to grab you. I mean, it has happened though, but it's very rare. And besides, I taste like bug spray and tick repellent. So
when I first started doing research down in Arkansas with our partners down there, I didn't know that gators came that far up north. So, to me, gators were deep, deep, deep south in Florida. Yeah, I had no idea, but every time I've been down there, every single time my partners are having to deal with the snakes. And also, I got chased up a tree by wild hogs in Arkansas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We've seen the wild hogs and stuff. They've kind of left us alone, but they've come around camp. Like we'll be in the tent and you can hear them like behind us and then the next morning you see all the chaos and the destruction that they've done. But yeah, I don't know how many times I've walked into a black bear.
Oh geez.
Just walking down a trail and a black bear comes walking across the trail. Sometimes I'll just look at you and look away and just wander off. Like many times. I would say like 25 times. Easy. You know, a couple grizzlies in the Rocky Mountains. You know, it's nerve-wracking, like you stop and hold your breath for a second. But, you know, a lot of times, and once I took a picture of someone, one of my buddies, and we look at the picture and there's a cougar, like right in the tree above him.
Oh,
Just sitting there, just watching us being jackasses in the forest. Just, you know, yeah, just, you know, you must be really being entertained. But very seldom will a cougar attack 2 people, if not, you know, 3 people. You know, it's very, very, very seldom. You know, I have two rules if I go out with people. If I go out with new people, or my number 1 rule is no hoaxing. Like no throwing something into the forest and saying there's something there. No saying you see eye shine if you don't really see anything. No sneaking off and, you know, stomping around, making it look like there's a big Bigfoot, right? That's number 1. Number 2, and it's very important, that if we are out there and if something does happen, if a bear comes out or a cougar, if a Bigfoot walks out, whatever you do, do not run. Stand your ground, stay close. You're safer when we're together than if you just run off panicking, you know, for 2 reasons. A, you're panicking so you could slip and break a leg, and then other animals might get you, or you might bleed out. 2, you're by yourself. Yay, now you're by yourself, and now there's one of you. And if, you know, where are you going to go anywhere? I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, and if a Bigfoot's going to kill you, it's just going to walk out, twist your head off, and that's it. So it's better if you just stand your ground, stay close. You're safer. We look bigger, right? You know, you can just do this, right? If there's like 2 or 3 of us, right? I mean, I've been in incidents where there's been creatures howling and screaming around us, roaring at us, all around us for like an hour, constantly. Like it literally we got so used to all the howling and the screaming and the roaring that this is exactly what happened. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so we're going to have some donuts or maybe some, oh, look, another howl. So anyway, about those hot dogs, are we going to have them chicken or like, that's exactly, I'm not kidding. That's exactly
Right.
what was happening. After an hour of over hundreds of howls and screams and whatnot going off around us, we got so numb of it. And then, yeah, so it was kind of funny, but it made for an amazing documentary. And it's called Searching for Sasquatch 5, the Texas Screams, because I was in Texas, on the border of Louisiana and Texas.
Oh, you're in prime country, prime cryptid country there.
It was amazing. And yeah, it was absolutely amazing out there. And the people I was with, the researchers, Todd Parsons, Shane, yeah, just all the guys I was with, they were just amazing. They took good care of me. They made sure I was safe, made sure my camera equipment was safe. And yeah, oh my gosh, we took an ATV into the forest deeper to go to a graveyard in the middle of the forest. And when we got there, we're doing our thing. I'm doing wood knocks and howls. And 45 minutes later, I just want to say something before I continue. When I howl or do the wood knock, I know some Bigfoot researchers, they don't believe in it. They think it's lame and stupid. But what I found happen is after I do a howl, it's almost like it's an alert for them. Like I'm calling, so now they know I'm here. It's as if, let's say the Bigfoot is 4 miles away, and all of a sudden he's like going, what's that? Here's the howl, and says, oh, I'm going to go investigate. And usually within 45 minutes of doing a howl, things start happening. So anyway, we're at this graveyard. And the reason we went to this graveyard is because heard a story of these, I think there were kids that had an experience with a Bigfoot that came out of the forest, and it scared them so bad that they were traumatic for the rest of their lives. It kind of screwed them up. But we went to that same, and we're surrounded by forest, like miles of forest. And then there was a gate that obviously it was a long driveway that led to a farmhouse. And we decided to go around the gate. And as soon there was a big sign on there saying trespassers will be prosecuted, don't cross. Obviously, I didn't obey the, I went around the fence, and as soon as I went around, I heard walking in the forest, like crack, crack, crack. And I'm like, guys, there's something in the forest. I hear it walking or something. So everyone, there was about 4 of us, and they went around, and they all pulled out their gear, their flares, and I went into the forest to get closer because I wanted to capture the sound of it walking, which I did. But one of the guys, he actually caught it. So at first it looked like it was like a bunny or something on the ground, and then it stood up. Like it stood up, and you clearly see it was a humanoid, and
Oh, geez.
it was naked because you could see all red, like it was red and white, and you could clearly see it had no clothes, because when I took a video of me standing, and you could clearly see the outline of my coat, but there it was, and then it turned and walked off. And we got the photo of it. He took a photo. It was amazing too, and we have video of it moving. You have it moving, like the video when it was on the ground. It was, yeah, Searching for Sasquatch 5, The Texas Screams. That's one if you want to, lots of adventure there and stuff. And yeah, that was an exciting expedition.
And you, like I said, you down there in Bigfoot Central. And when I go to Arkansas and go out with our partners there, the area that we go in, the research areas, we call it Ground Zero. And I also call it the Amazon of America. Like, I didn't realize how thick that forest is in the South. I had no idea, but you literally step 10 feet in there and you can disappear. And there is no telling what is in those forests of East Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, that whole area. That is a very, very unique place for research, and just charged. Have you ever experienced when you've gone into an area that it just feels charged? Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah. I was in northern Michigan, and I was with Dave Dominique. And Dave Dominique is a retired federal agent. Used to work for the FBI, and he was out with me, and we were with these 2 hunters. They used to track and they hunt, and they took me to this one area, and we went walking around. We're off trail. We're in the forest, and I was like, I was kind of getting bored, because I even turned to everyone and said, I don't feel nothing here. Like, for some reason, it just, I'm not scared. There's nothing. And they told us later that they took us to that spot to kind of test. They wanted to test and see who I was and who David and I was, to see before they took us to the real spot where they had an encounter of something charging at them through the forest. So after about 2 hours of stomping around and looking around in this one area, they were comfortable enough to take us. So we drove for another hour and a half to another location. And as soon as we stepped out of the truck, something ran off into the forest and was just crashing. And I just went darted into the forest to see if I can get some kind of video, whatever it was. And I couldn't. So, I mean, for these, whatever, it was probably just an animal of some kind, and it ran off. And then we walked down this trail, and man, it was crazy after that. Like, It was dark. We started hearing things walking beside us. We walked off the beaten path into the forest. We started seeing eyes shine. We started seeing creatures looking at us. At one point, David is here, and the female tracker was here, Laura, and Matt. And I'm walking, and suddenly it was like, oh, what the? It kind of sounded like that. Like it was, I could feel it on the ground, and it was like, and the air, and it was like, it's night. Remember, it's nighttime, and I'm walking. I'm like, what the, like that, and it hit me like a gust of hair. Like, it's hard to explain, but I was expecting David to be beside me, and I was like, oh, and I'm like, what? All of a sudden, Matt is like, whoa, oh, something grabbed me. Something grabbed me at my shoulders. Like instantly. It was just like that. It was like, oh, what? Before I could turn and go, holy cow. Matt jumped and said something grabbed him. We couldn't see nothing, but it felt as if something had ran. Have you ever had it where something like maybe a ball or something comes and you know it's coming and you flinch because you could feel it? Like
Right.
your buddy ran at you or something. It was like that, but we found the craziest tree structures, like tree X's with another tree formation that was weaved together. We were in this one area, and it looked very similar to what we talked about in Michigan with that really eerie area. It was like that. And we're going down this path. I remember we could hear things walking, and we could see peekers, things peeking, the eye shine. And then we're looking at this tree X that was molded. And after about 10 minutes, the trackers we were with were getting very nervous because they could see like the eye shine. It's something they've never experienced. And as I'm like, okay, I turn and I take a walk and I trip. I'm like, what the hell? And I look down and I'm like, holy fuck. I could not believe it. I don't know if I should say what I saw. Maybe you have to wait to see the documentary. But what was on the ground was, you know what? I'm going to wait till you see the documentary. But what was on the ground was something I've never seen before. And it was, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe what was on the ground that just, and here we are for 10 minutes looking at this tree structure, two of them, almost one here, one in the back, and not even seeing the formation that was on the ground. And the great thing about being a filmmaker and being out there with my camera equipment is I'm filming everything. So if people say, oh, you're lying or you're hoaxing or whatever, I'm like, well, I have footage of stuff that, like, and I'm with a bunch of other people who are witnessing this with me too. So if people, because sometimes I get hate mail of people saying that, oh, I'm just making it up. Oh, it's staged. I'm like, well, then you're calling everyone a liar. That's with us. And besides, I've never really claimed that what I'm looking at are these Bigfoot creatures. I haven't had a daytime sighting yet. But anyway, that one is actually going to be in the next Searching for Sasquatch stock number. It's probably going to be number 17, that one. And it's going to be the Ozark. It's going to be the Ozark Bigfoot expedition. And it's going to be, I'm going to start off the documentary with that northern Bigfoot experience I just told you. And then it will go back into the Ozarks. But look for that one.
That's amazing. You have so many great stories. Before I throw the ball over to Matt out there in Washington, you mentioned
Matt. Who's Matt? Is there another guy with us? Oh my gosh, there is another guy.
Yeah, he's there. Before I toss the ball over to Matt, you've talked about seeing lots of eye shine, and have you seen?
No, I have only seen white.
Okay. You know the question I was going to ask.
I know the question.
The red? I've heard it.
People say they've seen blue, they've seen red, they've seen orange. I have only seen, I've only seen white eye shine so far. There was at one point, so it's so funny because I'll be talking on camera about something that's happened, not realizing that my IR is capturing something behind me, looking at me, and you'll see the eye shine behind my head. And when you look through my documentaries, when you watch them, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I don't see it until I get home and I have the lights off and I'm editing and I go through the footage and then I see the creatures looking. You'll see them come right out from behind the tree like the eye shine. Sometimes you'll see one eye, and I think because their head's so big that only one eye sticks out. That's what I think. Sometimes you'll see two, but yeah, as you see that Ohio grass man, I caught two eyes, and I actually looked at it. I looked at it and said, "Is that a tree? What is that?" Like we had turned off all the lights, like all the flashlights. Okay, my flashlight died. Okay, so anyway, we turned off his flashlight. And we're sitting there in the dark, and I'm looking, and I'm like, I thought I saw something move, like a shadow. I was like, is there something there? What is that? And it was standing in front of us, maybe about 25, 30 feet away. And on camera, when I'm talking, you see, I move the camera, and you see it for a split second, the eye shine as it's looking. It's high. The thing must have been at least 9 feet tall, and you see the eye shine as it's looking. So it was really, really kind of a cool experience. But yes, only white eye shine so far.
All
So
right,
back
thanks
to you,
so much.
Matt.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry for the delay.
Oh yeah, no worries about that. It's just a lot of good information in the video. I mean, I know we're talking about the documentaries and stuff like that, but there's good information presented. People pay attention to how the research and how the documentaries are made. Things to do when you're out there doing your own field research. Go with people. Go with a group of people. Don't be by yourself. Be aware of the wildlife. That is one thing that always sticks in my mind. Being here in Washington, we're going to start getting ready to head up into the actual Cascades, up into the higher mountains here pretty soon. And you mentioned cougars, and that is what is actually really scary to me, is being up there. And thankfully, when I go up, I'm going to have somebody with me.
Well, then you have nothing to worry about.
That's good. That's
if you
good to
have
hear.
another person with you, do not worry about the cougars. Just don't. Remember, just as long as you stick together, because a cougar might come out to investigate.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you turn your back on the cougar to run, there you go. You pretty much have signed your death warrant if you turn your back. So you wonder why in Africa or in some of these in India, they wear a mask on the back of their head, because tigers will not usually attack you if they think you're looking at them. So that's with all cats. If you look at your house cat will always attack your leg from behind, right? Your house cat will always jump from the side when you have you look at a cat when it's trying to come towards you, it'll stop when you're looking at it. Cougars, you have nothing to worry about. Put that stress away. If you're going to be with someone, you're fine. Are you going to be carrying anything? You're going to have a carry with you? You're going to have a gun with you?
Well, I'm going to have some camera equipment, my thermal stuff, but here in Washington State, I don't have the licenses necessary to carry a firearm. It's pretty controlled here in Washington. But
well,
I will have somebody
also
with
have
me.
Oh, that's good. Is he a slower runner than you? Because that's very important.
Unfortunately, no. He's much faster than I am. Yeah.
It was nice meeting you, Matt.
Right.
Whereabouts are you in Washington?
Where am I? I'm in central Washington, pretty much right in the center of the state, over on the east side of the Cascades. So for us to get up where we're thinking about going, it's going to take us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get up there.
So you are almost closer to, is it Idaho?
About halfway between Seattle and the Idaho border. Pretty much, it's
Okay.
equal distant. Spokane is right on the border, and it's about 120 miles to Spokane, 120 miles to Seattle. So we're pretty much right in the middle.
Nice.
So we got
Well,
a little ways to go.
There's a Bigfoot conference out there by Natalie's up top,
I think so.
like almost on the border of I think Alberta and Washington. There's a Bigfoot conference every year. I'm going to be speaking at the summer. I'm going to be speaking at Sasquatch Summerfest, which is going to be in Oregon this summer. So if you ever want to take a little road trip, come on down.
That would be awesome.
Well, except that if you guys are chased by Bigfoot and you're with your friend that runs faster than you, then
I'm done for.
Yep. Sorry, Matt.
Yep. Bye.
So we always like asking this question of our guests, and in our network, we have we have partners on all different sides of the house. We've got them on the North American primate side of the house, the Woo side of the house, the Nephilim Connection side of the house. We got them everywhere, and there's no wrong answer. Everybody has their personal opinions and theories. Based on your experience and all the people you've interviewed and how you feel about the topic, what do you think a Bigfoot is?
Well, I've talked to a lot of hunters, and I've talked to a few of them that said they've shot and made them bleed. I have not physically seen a Bigfoot come out of a portal. I do wonder how they can camouflage themselves so well. If they can, basically turn invisible. Usually when I think of Bigfoot creatures and some of the stuff that they can do, I wonder if any animals, real animals in the world, true wild animals in the wild, can have special skills. And then I think, okay, well, maybe if that has a special skill, maybe the Bigfoot can do it too. So a good example is there any other animals on this planet that can be invisible or almost invisible with extreme camouflage? And of course, the octopus, right? The octopus can morph pretty much to look like coral, right? The cuttlefish can almost go translucent, right? So I have to think, okay, well, maybe Bigfoot might have that skill. Maybe they can go translucent. Maybe they can morph into extreme camouflage and look like almost like a tree or a rock. Now infrasound, right? So people say that Bigfoot has these infrasounds that you can feel. Well, is there animals in the wild that do? Yes. There's tigers, there's whales, right? Like all cats, even house cats, have a infrasound when they purr. The stuff that you can't hear but you can feel, right? So then I have to think that is there any animals on this planet that can go through portals? Well, I don't know any, right? So I have to wonder if it's true with the Bigfoot. Now, I have seen lights and orbs in the forest, things that blow my mind, and to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like I'm trying to run towards the light. They seem to always get further away. And when you stop moving and it's still moving, you hear nothing. It's not someone with a flashlight because you'd hear them walking, right? Like I'm off trail. I'm in bushes and leaves and twigs, and you hear me walk. And whatever this light is, it's silent. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. Do I wonder if they're an alien or if they can time warp or go through portals and jump through wormholes? I can't really explain, or I can't say because I've never seen it. I have never seen a what do you call it, like a portal? Not yet, anyway. I've been to areas, I've been taken to where it's supposed to be a portal, right? But I haven't seen, it hasn't morphed it. We walked around it. There was something that happened that was, oh my gosh, it just blew my mind. Like in Florida, we went to this area that was supposed to have energy or portal, and the EMS, the EMF reader, or the energy machine that we're using, the thing went off. It went so it was reading like almost like radioactive, to the point where it went so high that it stopped registering. Like it was going crazy, and it was all zero, because it went so high, and it would be like that for like 5 minutes, going crazy. Then it would go down. He'd move it, and we're like by these trees in Florida, like by these trees, and we're moving, and it's just something I've never seen. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no electronics. I do know that he would take the machine and put it next to the cell phone, and it would only go up to 9 syllables or whatever they called it. But the one, like, it would just constantly at this one area would just go right off the charts. It was crazy, and I was filming it, and it should not have done that. Then, unless there was a nuclear device literally in the ground that we're standing at, that was so radioactive. Of course, that would explain why I feel like there's a tail behind me now. I'm growing a tail all of a sudden.
Right.
It hasn't affected me at all. No.
So, Jason Kenzie, cryptid researcher, documentary filmmaker, and producer, adventurer. You have had some amazing experiences. Where can our viewers find you on social media, and what have you got coming up?
So I have about 4 expeditions coming up. I'm going to be in Pennsylvania. I'm going back to northern Michigan. I'm going to be speaking at like 4 different Bigfoot conferences this summer. West Virginia Bigfoot Festival, and I'm going to be filming a Bigfoot wedding. Not actual Bigfoots, right? Because that would be kind of crazy. But like, okay, can you bend down a second? I can't see your face. Okay,
Right.
yep, you know. You should clean that thing once in a while, damn it. And I'm going to be I'm going back to Louisiana. I'm going back to the Ozark Mountains this summer. I'm going to Europe. I'm going to England to speak at Paracon, which is going to be an amazing event. It's going to be in around Manchester area. It's called Paracon. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to be headlining it and speaking. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And then we're going to go and research the gray man. All my documentaries you can find on Tubi, Tubi TV, Plex TV. You can find me there. YouTube, you can find some of the newer stuff on YouTube. If you just search or Google Jason Kenzie, searching for Sasquatch, or Jason Kenzie, Bigfoot researcher. I have a comic book that I published called Searching for Sasquatch and the Hidden Treasure of Bigfoot Valley. It's a graphic novel. And yeah, that's full of adventure. I'm a big comic book fan, and I love Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and Dungeons and Dragons and all that. So the comic book is about a bunch of Bigfoot researchers that find hidden treasure. They go through a what do you call it? We go through a time warp into another dimension and come out into an area where it's all flying dinosaurs and plants that will eat you, and we find all this gold, and yeah, just lots of adventure. Yeah, you can find my stuff. Yeah, you can. You know what? Just search my name, and I'm so happy to have met you guys. And like I said, want to talk to you after this about Alaska. I want to go to Alaska and do Portlock, go deep into the forest.
That would be absolutely amazing. And I have no doubt that that documentary will be groundbreaking for this Portlock mystery of Alaska. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. And we really appreciate you. Thank you for all that you bring to the Bigfoot research community and educating researchers like us on your experiences and your documentation. So Matt, why don't you bring us home?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Like Dan was saying, taking time out of your schedule to be on our show tonight. Just so much good information. So many amazing films. Just we're very fortunate to have you on the show tonight. Thank you.
My pleasure, guys, and I'll come back on anytime you guys like me to. You know, if I'm promoting some other stuff in the future and going on other expeditions.
Well, you are always welcome here, and whatever we can do to promote all your projects, we will definitely do. So we encourage all our viewers to check out Jason Kenzie's documentaries, Searching for Sasquatch, and he's just got so much stuff going on. You got to stay active and keep up with him. He's all over the place and does a fantastic job. We'll put links in the description.
Yeah.
And highly encourage you to check out his films because they are top notch and he is the real deal. So Jason, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time.
See you, everyone.